Well, thanks everyone. Good morning. Pan Global is a copper-focused junior explorer focused on copper exploration in Spain. And we're one of the few copper-focused explorers in Europe. So this picture, the cover picture here, really tells an important story. This is what good looks like in the mining world. So this is from a picture from near our copper discovery. It's already a sort of growing and important new copper and tin discovery. And it's looking across a new area that we're going to drill very shortly. But you can see in the distance over here some mine dumps. These are from two very large, what they call volcanogenic massive sulfide deposits, big open pit mines that were operated by Boliden. It's now owned by Grupo Mexico, which is the third or fourth largest copper producer in the world. They're right next door to us. They're about to start a new mine, or hoping to start a new mine in this area. On the horizon here is another mine, Las Cruces. This is operated by First Quantum. It's one of the highest grade open pit copper mines in the world. And you can also see some of the infrastructure, power and so on, infrastructure that feeds the city of Seville, which is about a 30-minute drive off to in this direction here. So this is really ideal for a mining situation. No parks, no forests, it's all privately owned land, it's flat. So just capture that vision if you might. Okay, so I think for investors, Pan Global offers a sort of a low risk profile with a high reward opportunity. And I say that because, just following on from Angelis' comment, the junior miners, junior explorers have really had a very hard time for the last 2 years. And there are some signs that things are starting to pick up. And hopefully those companies that have something real, something that's already found that will be in demand, will be some of the first choices when investors come back and start buying again. So we have a large advanced copper tin discovery with 183 drill holes and 36 kilometres of drilling so far. It's one of the few new copper discoveries in Europe with the potential, importantly, to be brought into production before the end of the decade. And that's important because that's when copper prices are expected to really escalate. So we're in a terrific position. We've also been de-risking the project with a number of advanced studies. We've got excellent metallurgical results, cost studies and environmental baseline work all underway. These are all things that help to de-risk a project. In addition to that, we've got a lot of upside, both with a strong pipeline of other opportunities where we could make additional discoveries. And these are the sorts of things that can really give you a multiple on your investment with one drill hole. So that's important to have. And we're about to drill a couple of pretty exciting targets as well. So we could see some sort of near-term movement on the share price. In addition to that, we've got excellent infrastructure. I think we call it tier one infrastructure. We're surrounded by mines, as you saw in the previous picture, and development projects. And we also, very importantly, have a very supportive administrative system there. They're very supportive of mining, and they've also got a track record of fast permitting. So that's a premium in today's industry. There's some you can see in the US, new copper mines taking 20 or 30 years to get into production. So to get something permitted within 2 years, this is possible in Spain. That really is a premium. So just following on from Angelis' discussion here, I think we're in the right commodity. Copper is really facing a really strong demand scenario. I mean, just about anybody who follows copper, I think, comes to the same conclusion. I mean, the amount of copper that's going to be required over the next sort of 25 years will be as much as all of humanity's consumed in all of history for the 3,000 years prior. Now, the amount of that lift in copper production to meet that growing demand has never been achieved. So at the same time, there's been an underinvestment in new copper mines, an underinvestment in copper exploration. Copper mines in general are getting deeper, getting more expensive, getting more challenging to mine. So the way the industry is going to have to respond to this growing demand is for the copper price to go up and go up by a lot. And so there's going to be a sort of catch-up period over the next decade when copper prices are really expected to really go to space, hopefully. So to the moon, that's the one. That's what I was looking for. Perhaps even beyond Pluto or somewhere. Anyway, so I think we're in a great situation here to really capture the benefit of this rising copper market, having a copper project where we're located. Just to show where a project is, it's in a famous mining district called the Iberian Pirate Belt. There's been mining going on there for 3,000 years, more or less continuously. We're at the eastern end of this belt in southern Spain, about 30 minutes outside the city of Seville. But there's at least 5 big operating mines within about a 50-kilometre radius of our project. There's a smelter, a copper smelter and smelters, other things, about 75 kilometres away from us. This is all connected by a very good road infrastructure and power infrastructure. It's already in place. So this is what good looks like. This is a really excellent location for a new potential mining project. Just zooming in on our main project area, which is called the Escacena project. We're about, as I say, 30 minutes drive outside of the city of Seville. You drive past the First Quantum's open pit copper mine, as I mentioned, was one of the highest grade open pit copper mines in the world. Now that's about to transition to go underground. And then right next door to us are these two very large open pit mines that were operated by Boliden, but now are held by a group in Mexico who are looking to start a new mine right there. And they're right next door to us. So here's our copper and tin silver discovery down here in the south. We've got a new one just to the north, about 4 kilometres to the north, called Cañada Honda. And we have a new target which we're about to drill about 4.5 kilometres from Grupo Mexico. So, this is providing us a lot of options in the future, whether it's M&A with the bigger producers nearby, or a low capital intensity project where we could be perhaps trucking or conveyor belting ore from here to one of these other mines. So, but we're trying to find something much bigger than that. But again, excellent infrastructure, excellent location for a new mining project. Another differentiator. This is again looking at how deep mines are, how deep the copper and so on is in the earth. So the red bars are some of the existing mines today. Some of them are mining down, like at Lundin's mine at Neves Corvo is mining at 1.2 kilometres depth. But most of the other mines are underground as well. They're mining between 400 and 800 metres depth. There's only Atalaya, who's listed on the London Exchange, has what they call an open pit mine with copper at surface that is directly comparable to Pan Global. So here we are, copper from surface, and we followed it down to at least 400 metres depth, and it's still going. So this is rare these days to find copper at shallow depths, but in this environment, in this mining region, it's also very rare. But that means we've got the potential here for very low cost open pit mining project. And it's also much cheaper to explore as well, much cheaper to drill, etc. So a distinct advantage over the other companies in the area in that regard. Okay, so these types of copper deposits, they often in this area occur not as a single mass, but in what they call clusters. So, so we believe that although we've made one discovery, just here at La Romana, that the potential is very high to make additional discoveries, and we've got, we think, another one just here. We're about to drill just here, but this is a geophysics map. It's a tool that is very effective in this area for mineral exploration. You can see the correlation with these two old mines here and these geophysical responses. But we have lots of other these sort of pink blobs in the area that are untested. So the potential to make additional discoveries here is very high. And we've already proven that with some of the other targets. And as I say, we only got access to this area about 2 months ago. So, you know, it's probably as big or bigger than our original discovery. It's completely untested, no drilling ever there. You saw the picture photograph before, it's flat, there's no rock sticking out of the ground, etc. So this is pretty exciting for us. All right, so looking at, in a bit more detail at our main discovery called Laramana. As I say, it's a copper, tin and silver deposit. We've got 180 drill holes. It's got continuous copper mineralisation, copper and tin mineralisation over about 1.5 kilometres east-west. It comes to surface in the south. And we can see some of the high grades near surface, which is again ideal. And it gets deeper to the north in this direction here. And it's clearly open in a number of areas. And the most recent drill holes are showing that we're still hitting high copper grades close to surface in our most recent drill holes in the far western extent of this. So this will grow. We've got further drilling planned here, we want to delineate the full extent of this before we publish what they call a resource. Again, this, without getting too much into the technicalities here, this is essentially showing that it has a very simple geometry. It's very predictable all the way across the 1.5 kilometres. Yeah, nature's been very good to us in this situation. We've got copper coming to surface here, so this is one of the latest last drill holes we did. You know, near surface, high grade copper. It continues still open, likely to continue at depth. Another cross section here, again that same very simple geometry, ideal for an open pit mine. Another thing to notice, flat topography, just a thin layer of soil over the top of it, and some of the highest copper grades closest to surface. Again, ideal if you're looking at early payback for an open pit mine. So again, we're looking 50 plus metres thickness here, about 1% copper equivalent. So again, this is really, we're very fortunate here. Nature has been very kind. Rather sort of colourful map here, but it's a plan view, map view, looking at the sort of the thickness, grade and thickness of the copper mineralisation basically. So it comes to surface in the south, it's open in a number of areas, but basically what it says is that we've got potential in a number of areas here, which is where we're planning to do additional drilling. And we can see another sort of 10 or 15 million tonnes of potential copper mineralisation in these areas. So this is where we're going to be focusing our drilling in the next year or so. So it will grow. We've also reported some metallurgy results. Now, metallurgy is an important thing. This is where the money's made, essentially. And we have some of the best copper metallurgy in terms of concentrate grades and recoveries in the area that we're exploring. In fact, as good or better than all of the existing mines in the area. So the studies we've done so far at what they call a level adequate for a preliminary economic assessment or even a pre-feasibility study. So they're quite advanced. So that's de-risked the project. We know that we can produce a very good high-value concentrate here, something that the other miners would love to have. Similarly, with the tin, we've advanced the studies on the tin and again, much to our surprise, exceeded our expectations. We've been able to show that we can produce what they call a premium quality concentrate. So a very high grade concentrate, it's low in impurities, it's with excellent recovery. So again, the tin will add value. It looks like 15 to 20% of the in situ value here. So again, further de-risking the project, but this is an excellent result. This will add value to us, and if you like, it's another sort of hedge on prices. If the copper price goes down, the tin price might go up. But tin prices have been looking very healthy recently as well. Okay, so as I mentioned, we've got lots of upside, not only for the expansion of our main discovery at Laramana, but we've got the potential to make additional discoveries. So exploration is where you can really get a real kick on your share price. You make another discovery like Laramana at Bravo for this target here, and that could really see a multiple on the share price fairly quickly. So, as I said, we only got access to this area. This is a gravity geophysics map. We got access to this about 2 months ago. We covered the area with detailed gravity surveying and soil geochemistry, and we can see a strong coincident, lead, zinc and silver soil anomaly coincident with the gravity response. And this is what the area looks like, flat. There's no rock sticking out of the ground. We don't know what this is, but there are a number of very strong indicators that this could be another deposit just like we found at Laramana. So we're anticipating, once we complete the current round of geophysics, that we'll have sort of 3 to 5 drill holes here, starting either before the end of this year or early next year. So watch this space. Another of our discoveries called Cañada Honda. It's about 4 kilometres to the north of that previous target. It's, again, another very big gravity geophysics anomaly. All the drilling at the moment is just one end of it. It's about 3 kilometres long, so twice as big as Laramana discovery. These two pictures on the left, these are sort of long section views, and this is, so far our drilling has produced some pretty interesting gold and copper numbers, what would potentially be ore grades in this area. And importantly, the copper and gold is coinciding with the geophysics, both the gravity, and this is results from a helicopter electromagnetic survey we did, but it shows a very close coincidence of the mineralisation with the geophysics, and that continues further to the west. All of this is untested. The strongest parts of the geophysics have not been tested. Now, it's a bit deeper than our Laramana discovery. We're talking sort of 500 to 700 metres, something like this potentially. Maybe a bit shallower in places. It comes to near surface in this area. But that's well within the range that most of the other mines are already operating. So when the depth is okay, but it's just more expensive for a smaller company to test. But if you compare the scale of that with one of the current operating mines that Sandfire are operating today, which is an Australian company, it's the same. This is at the same scale. This is an over 100 million tonne ore body made up of 5 different deposits, etc. It just gives you an idea of the scale and the potential that we have at this target. So we'll look to drill a few more holes into this next year. So it's just another example of the upside we can see here. So when you put it all together, we've got a really great combination of a great infrastructure. It's an area which has a good, fast permitting track record. We're very supportive administration. Add to that, we've got this sort of very simple, predictable geology, geometry, copper from surface, great metallurgy, all of these things that you would want if you wanted to sort of tick the boxes for a new mine development. We're ticking those boxes already. So this is what I mean by a lower risk investment opportunity. This is real. I'm sure it will be a mine. I have no doubt about that. All right, so we have another project, a new one up in the north of Spain. Again, another old mining area. It's about 60 kilometres north of the city of Leon, and it's another opportunity where we could really turn up some really interesting results and see a boost to the share price. So these are two sort of cross sections, if you like, of some old mine workings. These were mines that were operating about 100 years ago. They've not had any modern exploration. So what's attractive to these is that, one, they haven't been tested, but the grades we're seeing, so the concentrations of not only copper but also gold and nickel and cobalt and other metals. So this is a very compelling target for us. So from the sampling we've done on the Providencia target, we're getting grades of 2.5% copper, 1.3% nickel and other metals. So this is, in the world of mining, these are high grades. So we're looking at 2 or 3 drill holes in this area, starting just as soon as we can get the drill rig up there. The other target that we've been looking at, we've got underground sampling underway right as we speak, but this sampling so far has given an average from 8 samples of over 10% copper. That's very unusual, that's very high grade. So again, with other metals. So this is why this is a very attractive, compelling target for us, and somewhat unusual in terms of the metal enrichment. So yeah, again, watch this space. This is pretty exciting for us. Right, so look, we've set ourselves a pretty ambitious target of trying to sort of identify about 100 million tonnes of potentially commercial copper mineralisation, and we think we have the pipeline of opportunities to reach that target, not only from drilling and expanding our main copper deposit at Laramana, but by drilling some of these other many targets that we have, many other opportunities in the pipeline. So I think although ambitious, I think we've got the pipeline of opportunities to achieve this, and we could achieve it in fairly quick time. So, as I say, over 15 other targets, etc. We've got a very clear plan of how to achieve it, and we've certainly got the targets to meet that sort of ambitious target. And I should say that if we reach that will put us in a strong position in terms of comparing with some of the other big producers in the area. All right, so just looking at the capital structure fairly quickly, we've got about 300 million shares out. We're listed in the Ventures Exchange in Canada. We just completed a financing. We were oversubscribed by quite a lot. We set out to raise about 3 million Canadian, and we ended up closing just last week. I think it was 7.2 million thereabouts. So, and we were still receiving orders. That was a very good response. In fact, I think it's a sign that the industry is starting to pick up. The money's starting to come to the juniors. In fact, there's been a lot of pretty successful financings quite recently in the junior world. So our share price is currently about 11 or 12 cents. We did the financing at 12 cents. I think we've been affected, our share price has been affected like many of the other juniors. We've all been put into the same basket, if you like, whether you've got something real or not. So we've been trying to position ourselves such that when the market does turn around, that we'd be one of the better choices out there, particularly for those investors looking for copper projects or copper exposure. We have some analyst coverage which has a price target of 75 cents. So at these current prices, we think we represent an excellent investment opportunity. So just finally, we've got a lot of news to come through with not only the drilling on that new target we're about to test, and that could who knows what that will bring, but that's the high risk aspect of it, but high reward element to mineral exploration. We've got the drilling to expand our main copper discovery, and it will grow, as I've shown you the pictures here already. And the drilling we've got planned over the next sort of 6 to 8 months should put us in a position where we could publish what they call a mineral resource and follow it up with an economic statement. And I think there's a lot of people sort of waiting for that. But at this stage, our focus is to see how big it might be before we publish that resource. And it will grow. We've got other results. I said the new project up in the north. We've got this other pipeline of other targets we'll get to as well in good time. We're also bidding on some areas around our main copper discovery. The outcome of those will be known over the next sort of 2 or 3 months or thereabouts. But that could, if we're successful with those bids, could double our land area and give us access to another suite of potential new copper opportunities. So in a very attractive mining-friendly area. So, right, with that, I'll leave it.
Okay, well, thank you, Tim. A couple of minutes, so any questions for the board?